Hello, guys. Let's start with today's session. I don't think anybody else will be joining, but if they do, that's good. So this session will be a quick, short session which will cover the basics of how to. So, am I audible first of all?
Yes.
Okay, great. So this session is going to cover the very basics of literature search. It will cover the basics of how to import your literature into Zotero, what Zotero is primarily. Also, how you can review literature inside of Zotero as well. So Zotero is a very good software. Mendeley is another good software by Elsevier. That can also be used. So both of these are very similar, but Zotero, I find it to be user-friendly, more user-friendly. And as a bonus, I will also today introduce you to Ryan, so which is also amazing, especially for reviews, systematic reviews, and meta-analyses. So what I will do is I will share my screen. Okay, is it visible? I think it should be visible.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. So basically, so I am not sure about Seema's and Sai's. So both of your orientation to research. So how would you rate yourselves as researchers?
Yeah, I would say 2 on 5.
Okay, 2 out of 5. And Seema? Okay, I think she might be having problems with the audio. So okay, 2 out of 5. Okay, so let me cover the basics. So how many papers have you written, or how many researchers are you a part of?
I'm a part of 2 reviews. I've not written anything.
Okay, so great. So that's
Yeah.
good. So no, you know about how to review literature and stuff like that. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So basically, when you are thinking about planning a new study, when you are thinking about planning a new hypothesis, you need to first review literature, obviously. So prior research, prior works, prior recommendations to help you guide your study, your methodology, your planning, your hypothesis, probably even your analysis plan. and also give you a basic idea about what the expected outcome might be. Now, reviewing literature is correctly reviewing literature is important because you want to get a clean sweep of all the existing literature which is relevant to your study topic. A simple Google search might not, most of the times will not give you a very clean sweep of all the papers. So to extract the most amount of information, PubMed, of course, the repository of papers on PubMed, Medline is the best source you can turn to. Some other sources include the Cochrane's repository, Embase, Google Scholar. So some of these, these are all resources which you can turn to extract the maximum number of papers or articles, so on and so forth, about the relevant topic. This session will focus on reviewing literature in PubMed, Medline, and exporting all of those to Zotero and Ryan to get all of them together. So get all of your resources together, and then you can, and to collaborate, more importantly, to collaborate on a project. So are you aware about mesh terms in PubMed?
Yeah, there's something like synonyms, right?
Yeah, so mesh terms, so medical subject headings, so mesh in short. So these are for sort of like keywords which PubMed uses or Medline uses. And they assign these mesh terms to articles according to the study topic, the relevancy of that topic to that particular mesh term. And they assign mesh terms to a topic so that by using combinations of different terms, different mesh terms, you can accurately and precisely pull out the relevant studies or articles for your project. So these are sort of like keywords. Cochrane has their own keywords. Now they have recently, I think, introduced mesh terms as well, Cochrane. Embase has, Google Scholar has. So all of these, these keywords can be used in combinations to extract information on papers, various papers. So review of literature is important before, so when you plan of a study and before sitting down and writing the analysis plan, or actually even before submitting to ethical approval, obviously. It also, reviewing literature also helps in calculating the sample size, because you get an idea about the effect size when you review literature. It helps you in, as I already mentioned, clearly stating your hypothesis and the areas or the lacunae in current literature where you can build on. And of course, they give you a general idea about the outcome you can expect, although this is not a good way to approach a paper. A predefined hypothesis or a preconceived notion is not the best way to go about, but still you can have a fair enough idea. So now let me once again refresh your memory, if needed, about how to go about searching for a topic using mesh terms in PubMed. Now, suppose we want to do a study. So this, of course, is not a novel study. I understand this is a very basic, simple study, but this, I'm explaining this as an example so that everybody can follow. Suppose we want to do a study where we want to assess the effect of hypertension or high blood pressure on the cognitive function in geriatric patients, say above 60 years old. So this paper, this is the study which we want to do. And now we want to review the literature, what the current literature which exists, and what does it have to say about this particular topic. So to go to, so there PubMed has a separate mesh terms search menu. So the way you can go there is when you log in, when you open the PubMed NCBI site, we just open PubMed, right? So when you open PubMed, this is the first page you are likely to see. You can scroll it down, and you can explore the mesh database right here. So underneath the explore icon, you can select this, and this will lead you to the this website where you can now plug in mesh terms. And now, so the study is assessing the effect of hypertension or high blood pressure on cognitive assessments in geriatric patients. So the first term which we might want to include will be hypertension. And you see, when you type in hypertension, you can see a lot of suggestions, but hypertension is way down here. It is alphabetical. So instead of selecting this, we can also do a search using this term, and we can select the hypertension. You can read the definition: persistently high systemic arterial blood pressure. And if you want to know more about this term, we can select this hyperlink and we can read the definition. So persistently high systemic arterial blood pressure based on multiple readings, so and so. All right, so this is the definition for this mesh term, hypertension. We can include the entire hypertension term as it is, or if we want to include only some of the terms, for example, pathology or pathophysiology, or perhaps say complications, right? Complications, probably epidemiology as well, probably genetics, so on and so forth. So you can include all of these subheadings to get a more precise search. But let me show you what if you just include the entire term as it is, entire hypertension term as it is. Okay, we add this to search builder. Okay. And you can string these mesh terms using what are known as Boolean operators, or simply put, just and or not functions. Okay, so these are very simple functions. These are very simple terms which can be used to string multiple mesh terms together. So for example, now we want to search hypertension and cognitive decline and geriatrics, right? So these are the string of terms which we want to include. So we will use and to string all of the mesh terms together. Suppose we want to include one more outcome. Suppose we want to include hypertension causing heart failure. So this is a very tangential outcome, but suppose we want to include heart failure as well. So we can include hypertension and cognitive decline and heart failure. But the problem here is, if we include cognitive decline and heart failure, it will only pull out the studies which include both of these mesh terms, right? Cognitive decline with heart failures. We want to include two separate outcomes. So cognitive decline as well as heart failure. So here we can use the OR function. The OR function will essentially pull out papers, both type of papers. So hypertension with cognitive decline or hypertension with heart failure. So essentially we'll get a lot more papers because you are also searching for heart failure. And the NOT function. So suppose we want to search for papers, so hypertension leading to cognitive decline, but not cognitive decline due to, say, a prior stroke. So perhaps a prior stroke might lead to cognitive decline, though the scar might lead, or chronic ischemic or hemorrhagic injuries might lead to cognitive decline. So the vascular etiology. So we don't want those particular terms or those particular papers to pop up. Here we can use a NOT function to exclude those papers. So hypertension and cognitive decline, not, you can use a NOT term to include, say, stroke or cerebrovascular accident or something like that. So this is in short about and, or, and not functions and how we can use them. So right now we'll focus on the task at hand. We will stick to and now we can search for cognitive function. Okay, so if we go alphabetically, we do not see after the cognitive function this term does not exist, but we want to explore what terms might come up when we search for cognitive function. And here we have only two terms, so cognition and neuropsychological tests. Let me search for cognitive impairment. Now we get a better search result. So even the mesh terms which you are typing in to search for keywords, quote unquote, should be appropriate. So if you don't find a certain mesh term after searching for a certain term, you might want to rephrase your term to include. So we don't see cognitive impairment, but we do see cognitive dysfunction, and this is diminished or impaired mental and or intellectual function. And this is the term which we want. So we'll select this, and we can select this like so. You can just add to search builder, right? And now you see that it has added this mesh term along with hypertension. So hypertension and cognitive dysfunction. And we also want to add demographics into this. So geriatric. So we'll search for geriatric. And we see several terms which are related to the geriatric patient population. So here we can probably add geriatric assessment, or we might want to search for a specific term for the elderly, and here you search for this. Okay, so this is great. So now we find a very specific term, aged, and can add this to search builder. And remember that the AND operator was still selected, so it has included another AND. If you wanted to change the operator, you can do this just by selecting OR, and now it will add this term using the OR function. And now the three most important terms have been added to your search builder. And let us search for all the papers which PubMed can pull out using this. And here you can see that there are 306 results which are pulled out. And you might say, oh, 306 is quite a good number. For example, if you were to just search, for example, cognitive impairment, hypertension, elderly in PubMed, you would get a lot more studies, perhaps. See, you get 2,532 results. just by stringing in these random words together. And you can see that some of these papers are not relevant at all. Okay, vascular cognitive impairment is not what we wanted. But by using specific mesh terms, we were able to reduce the search results by 2,200 approximately to only 306. But even sometimes you might think 306 results is also a lot of results. So what you can do is you can further filter out these results. If you want to only see the results but after say 2015, can change this, can slide it to 2050 to 2023, and now you only see the results the papers which have been published in this time period. A word of caution, PubMed does not immediately add very recently published papers to their mesh database. So probably say a study which had been published on say 15th March 2023 might not be visible in this. So this is one disadvantage of using mesh term, but for the most part it is quite good. And you can also check the free full text option, because probably you might have you might not have access to those specific journals, or you might not, the papers might not be open access or something like that. You don't want those papers. So select the free full text option, and behold, you only have 150 results, which is quite good, right? So 150 papers are quite good if you want to review. But again, 150 papers, reviewing each and every paper if you don't have a big enough team is still quite tedious, right? So we might want to include only those papers which are, say, randomized controlled trials. We only have 10 papers now. This is quite good. And RCTs are, for the most part, RCTs are the papers which you want. RCTs and reviews, systematic reviews, are the papers which you are looking for. And now these papers are good to include in your review. If you want to search for meta-analyses as well, you can select the meta-analysis option, and now you get RCTs plus meta-analyses in your search. And here we have 19 results. So I think we should be happy with 19 results. We can review all of these papers. And all of these papers, inside all of these papers might have some very interesting papers in the references as well. So you can, sidetrack and go check out interesting references inside those papers. Okay, so I think I will stop here about how to search the mesh database in PubMed. And I will now tell you how to, what Zotero is, how to log in, and how to collaborate, and how to add these articles in Zotero. So you can go to the zotero.org website, and you can create an account in Zotero. It will ask you to, of course, validate your account, and after that you can log in to Zotero. Now Zotero also has a desktop PC application for Windows and Mac and so on. So you can also download that application so that you can just start Zotero without going online. But online, so the online Zotero is good because you can create a group. So if you go to groups in Zotero, can create a new group. We can perhaps say, can create an example group, right? We can select a type of group which we want. So why I'm telling you this, it is important to create a group. For example, if you have, say, 4 or 5 co-investigators with you in your study, you might all want to review the papers. Somebody might want to include some papers, somebody might want to delete, duplicate, or something like that. So a group is very useful in such circumstances. So for the most part, you will want to choose a private membership. So only members which you invite to that group will be added to the group. Open membership is not recommended because anyone online can view your group and join instantly. So choose a private membership, create a group, and these are the settings. So private library, who can read, any group member can read, any group member can edit, right? So all of these settings are fine. Okay. And you can save these settings. And now we can add members by going to member settings. And here you can see that only I am a part of this group since I created right now. But you can invite new members by sending more invitations. And you can add email addresses separated with a comma. So if you want to add 3 or 4 members, you can add their email addresses and separate those with a comma, and they'll get invitations to join this group. So here is how the web library for Zotero looks. Okay. And you can create folders, in the web library, in my library, or you can create folders because in group libraries, because now you have a group here. You can add a folder in example 1. And now all the members of the group can add their articles you search for in this folder, in this group. All right. So this is about Zotero. I'll go to PubMed again and show you how to add the article. I think might have closed that window down. But let's search. So now I'm searching again for the same, with the same keywords, with the same mesh terms. We want papers pulled after 2015. We only want full text, free full text. We want meta-analyses, and we want randomized controlled trials. And now we can go to the first meta-analysis, effect of antihypertensive treatment on cerebral blood flow in older adults, so systematic review and meta-analysis. So this is exactly what we are looking for. So almost exactly this effect of antihypertensive treatment, but you can see here, this probably might have blood pressure readings as well included in the paper. So the abstract doesn't seem to have that, but yeah. So how do we include this paper to Zotero? So Zotero also has an option for Chrome add-in or Chrome plugin. So if you're not familiar with extensions, Chrome extensions, you can go to extensions and you can, install the Zotero connector extension. All right. You can log in from that extension to your account. And here you can go to more, probably. And this might not have, we might need to So it might need to refresh a bit to show that group, but you can save this to an existing folder. For example, if we save this in the example folder, it will now save the entire PDF as well, because see, it is a free PMC article. The PDF is included. So we are searching for free full text. So it will save the PDF as well. And now we can go to this group, right? This folder. And now we now have the paper. So this is one paper which I had already added beforehand. But now this effective antihypertensive treatment. So this is the paper which we have now added right now. So we can go here. We can open this paper, and now we can edit. We can now actually edit the PDF. This might take a little time to load. Yeah. So this is a great thing about Zotero. We can edit inside Zotero itself, and everyone can see your edits. So if you want to perhaps highlight a certain point, you can highlight a certain point. You can you can click on hyperlinks to take you to the supplemental material or something like that. And basically you can comment, you can highlight, and everyone in your group can see your highlights. And basically you can, when you open Google Docs or Microsoft Word, and when you're actually writing your article, you can install the plugin for Microsoft Word, the Zotero plugin, or even for Google Docs. Both have a plugin, and you can add bibliography to your document which you are writing. You can add your bibliography. So this is about Zotero in short. I will now, as a bonus, introduce you to Ryan. So Ryan.ai is another software which is extremely useful, especially when you're writing systematic reviews or meta-analyses. So you can go to the Ryan.ai website. You can sign in. And when you sign into the website, you can sign into your account. You need to create an account. You can sign into your account, and you can select a new review. So new review, you can say, create a new review in medicine and human health. This might be a meta-analysis in biomedical. You can write a description and create this new review. Now, the process of uploading slated articles is a bit different. You might need to save all. So when you go to Zotero, you have so now I want to export this collection. All right. So so I would highly suggest everyone to install the Zotero application. So I'm a bit more comfortable with the application. So what I'll do is that I can export this collection. Okay. Can export this collection in an RIS format or any other format. Okay. And can export all of these to say downloads. And now when I go to Ryan, I can select files. Go to downloads. I can open this RIS file. And yeah. Now, once it has finished uploading the file, I can continue. So, check the continue option. It takes a little time to load, but both of now, so all of the articles which you had included should be added into this Ryan AI software. So I'm not sure why this is not has been added, but it should work. And once you've added, basically you can see all of those files here. Can do the same thing when annotate the files. You can add comments, and you can add reviewers in a similar fashion, similar to Zotero, to participate in your project. And everyone can now comment. You can decide whether to include an article according to your inclusion criteria for the systematic review. You can decide to exclude the article, or you can leave it undecided, so that more people can chime in and decide whether to include the article or not. Okay, so finally it has been added. It took a little bit of time to add. And if you go to the two new articles, okay, now now we can see the articles which have been added. And since this is an artificial intelligence website, this highlights certain important points which it thinks are germane to your study. It adds some keywords. It adds some keywords right here under the topic section, with the big keywords being the keywords which it thinks are most important. Since we have only added only 2 papers, there are not many keywords which are topics which have been suggested, but whatever. And you can now put your opinion. So whether you want to include, maybe exclude, you can add a note, you can label this, you can tag this, you can write a reason of including, excluding, etc., etc. These are already predefined reasons. And so this is a great software. You can use Ryan AI also as well for your review of literature. This is one more great software, but you can only import CSV formats, RIS formats, and some other formats into Ryan AI. And this is easy with Zotero, because you can create the export, select the export collection option, and can select the format which you want to, CSV, RIS, and so on and so forth. RIS is the best format to export. But this was all what I wanted to explain in this session. Because not many people have joined this session, I wanted to go in detail about how to use operators to search for your articles, your review of literature. But I hope we will have a session shortly where I will be, there will be more people, and I might go into detail to explain this. This session is recorded and will be uploaded to our Require Stats website. So you can, if you are unsure about anything, or if you want to, review some concepts, or review the steps to include these into Zotero or Ryan, you can, view this video afterwards. So I think we'll stop here. Does anybody have any questions up till now? So I think nobody has any questions. This video, of course, will be uploaded, so don't worry about that. So the steps, if you are unsure or you want to review, you can do that. And I think we can call it a day. Yash?
Yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you for attending. Yash, are you there? Okay, I think I'll end this meeting. And again, thank you all for joining in, and I hope you learned a bit about how to review literature, about how to use mesh terms, what Zotero is and what Ryan is. So I hope that you will go back and play around with mesh terms and um, you know play around with mesh terms. You can play around with operators, and you can see how you can precisely get the articles which you want, and also while making a clean sweep. I would also encourage you to go to Cochrane or Embase and do the same thing. So even they have their own keywords which you can string along in different combinations and get your articles. Okay. Okay, great. So I think I'll stop this meeting and thank you all for joining. Have a nice day, everybody.